to the Tapped Out Podcast Network. I'm Nick McDaniel. He's Myron Fancher. How the heck are you, buddy?
I'm cold, extremely cold. I'm so cold, it feels like I live in a place with a better NFL team than Atlanta, Georgia. Oh.
You know, they're not a bad team, actually. I've actually watched them. They're not winning, but I don't think they're playing like a bad team, as the irony may be there.
Okay.
They are underperforming. Well, hell, some people would probably they're overperforming at this point. But anyway, doesn't really matter a whole lot. I mean, but, you know, it has been cold. I will agree with you. Today was the first day we have the real blast of below freezing. So people, if you haven't gotten your little water nozzles outside covered and, you know, winterized, it's probably that time of year you should do that.
Time of the year.
It is coming cold. It is getting into the holiday season. Thanksgiving's creeping up on us. Christmas is right behind that. And Myron, somebody asked me the other day, hey, what's the best Christmas gift you can get? You know what I told him?
What's that?
Tell them, man, you can gift. Did you know you can gift memberships over on patreon.com/tappedoutpod? That's right. It's just a gift that would keep giving all year long. You can buy them at the $1 level, the $5 level, the $10, the $25. Think about if you gave your wrestling fan a Christmas gift, Myron.
Oh, I'm going to get one for my entire family.
What if somebody told you, man, I got you this $25 level on patreon.com/tappedoutpod, and every month they're going to send you an 8.5 by 11 autographed by somebody. Whether sometimes it's a national person, sometimes it's an indie guy. You never, ever know who you're going to get. Hell, sometimes you get 2 in a month. That would be a gift you would probably appreciate, no?
Getting Nick in your stockings better than Cole, folks. I think I'll buy that for my entire family.
Yeah, I think it's a great bargain. I think it's a great deal as a gift at all. I mean, yeah, I get it. $25, 12 months, do the math, and I promise you they're going to rack up more value just in those 8.5 by 11s than they are anything else you're going to get them across the year, because every single month those things are going to mail out. How awesome would that be? It's just my opinion. What do I know? But man, let's kick off the show, man, and let's get into, you know, we try to kick off every single week with the same, you know, opening segment. We like to call it What Caught Our Eye on TV this week. Obviously, we start off with the biggest one, you know, in my opinion, folks. Hey, it is what it is. John Cena is finally a Grand Slam champion. He is now the Intercontinental champion. I think I remember us talking about this a while back. That this would be a cool thing to do.
One of our dreams. One of our dream matches for Cena on his last match was Dominic. He gets his Intercontinental title, blah, blah. It felt good to watch this. This was a good piece of wrestling television, in my opinion. I think you got your torch pass. You got your seal of approval. Even though he lost, Dominic looked like $1 million. His character's super over. He was getting a lot of cheers, a lot of jeers. People like and hate Dominic Mysterio. And beating and losing to John Cena in John Cena's hometown, man, you don't get better exposure than that.
And by the way, everybody overreacting about he shouldn't have beat Dom or whatever. There's probably more to this story. Right?
Professional wrestling. It's not over yet.
Let's let it play out. Part 2 of our pontification a couple of weeks ago was maybe Dom sneaks. Think about this. Dom sneaks his way into all the matches haven't been announced for the tournament.
Yes, there are.
Dominic
mysteries.
Sneaks in. What if? Everybody's talking about who's the young guy that they're going to bring in. He should pass the torch and blah, blah, blah. The more you think about it, Dominic Mysterio regaining the Intercontinental Championship and beating John Cena, who's going to talk more shit over his career than Dominic Mysterio being able to say for the rest of his career he retired John Cena?
That's a lifetime worth of shit right there, Nick. That's better than a tapped out Patreon subscription full of shit. This is amazing how much he could use this. Okay, deadbeat dad Ray, retired John Cena. He'll always have material. And he'll be hated wherever he goes.
This is right up there with the 1 and 25-1, the streak, the whole, whatever. Yes. So I think, look, again, I understand people were like, "Oh, he shouldn't have beat Dom," and you're just like, pump the brakes, let it play out. I think now, listen, it might work the other way. By the way, he might just drop it back to him at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
It could be that quick. It could be literally that quick, folks. We get the rematch then, or I love the concept of him doing the tournament, jumping into the tournament somehow, some way. He's the final match of John Cena's career. But again, I don't shit on what they do if it's not that. I just think it's a cool thing. It would be a cool
How
thing
cool
to
is
see.
it? There's a great chance that the final match of John Cena's career will be defending a title too.
Yeah.
Never ceasing to surprise me with the wonderful things we've had in this John Cena final tour. Been enjoying every second of it.
By the way, obviously Rusev and Sheamus, they advance in the tournament as well. We'll more stuff on SmackDown, and then more at Madison Square Garden next week. So we'll kind of see how this plays out here over the next few weeks. How cool is it that we're like, hey, over the next few weeks, we've got a story that's building over the next month. Let's find out who his final opponent's going to be.
I'm excited to get these who the secret entrants are and who's going to progress. This is entertaining. And I really like it when it's entertaining. I really like it when it makes me want to watch the next show. You know, so much wrestling on TV, but when you start getting me hungry to see the next show, that's when I really like it.
It's funny. Wise Man once told me that that's actually the whole point of a wrestling show, is to sell tickets to the next show. Sell the next show, you know.
They're doing a good job of that.
Also building, by the way, WarGames is coming now. We got that story breaking down. CM Punk, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. Just for the math, folks, if math's not your strong subject, that's only 3-on-3. It's typically 5-on-5. So then everybody, of course, today is saying, okay, that's 3 versus 3. Who's the other 2 on each team? We kind of threw out some names in the show notes, by the way. If you were a doll, you could see those, right? We throw some in there. Obviously, everybody assumes. By the way, next week Raw, Madison Square Garden is going to be a massive show. The Boston Garden was great. Madison Square Garden is the
most famous arena in the world.
Yeah,
but there's so many better choices on the babyface side than there are on the heel side, Nick. It's almost unfair how many more choices. It's going to be. Tell me, tell what you put in the notes. Read them out loud.
Some people, hold on though. Some people are arguing Cody Rhodes wasn't even supposed to be in this match. It was supposed to be Fatu. He gets the injury, so now he's out. So Cody Rhodes they slide him in. Obviously, everybody just assumes because of the history with the division, Roman's probably going to be involved. Jimmy could be involved. LA Knight could be involved. So there's a whole lot of if somebody has thrown out there that if he's not defending the Intercontinental title, why not Cena in this? So, somehow over the next few weeks, drag him in. I don't know. I think I like those 3 because they all kind of make sense, 2 of those 3. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the question. The question was, okay, we keep hearing Brock Lesnar is probably the potential 4th person in the division, potentially, in the WarGames. But then, Myron, that's it.
That's 4. We need 1 more. And I don't want it to be Aleister Black or somebody like that. It needs to be somebody it's really going to fit in this mold, man.
I think I got somebody.
Oh.
I thought about it long and hard, and I didn't tell you because I wanted to get your reaction on the show. I thought to myself about something WWE's done really well lately is working people on the internet. Literally, like using social media to make people think things that maybe they're not quite true, but the fans want it to be true so bad that they bite in. LA Knight. Lately on the internet, it's, I don't know if you saw on Raw, they cut him off mid-promo. That everybody was like, he held that sign up, and ever since then, he's been moved out of this and moved out of this. What if somewhere between they think LA Knight's with them and he turns, because now guess what he is? He's another disgruntled person who deserves better. The fans are all talking about it, and they turned LA Knight heel because the babyface run Seems like it has stalled a little bit in the grand scheme of
It's
things.
stalled. It's been stalled a little bit.
Flip him because I know he's older and I understand that, but he does have the same. Brock's going to be older, by the way, but if he's in this group too. LA Knight's not that old. Then that would bring Roman and Jimmy to level the field because they would have Brock and LA Knight as the 5.
Okay. That's not a bad idea. That's not bad logic. The MFTs are still out there. Isn't Solo in the Cena tournament though?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's all the other ones aren't big enough, like Star Wars, to get in there. So yeah, I think you're onto something, Nick. I think you're onto something. Disgruntled employee, Mr. LA Knight,
deserves better. He's all of a sudden not getting respected. And by the way, it's all Jey Uso's fault, CM Punk's. You see where I'm going with this? It's all those people's fault that he's getting passed over. If Paul Heyman can say, I can make you a star, I can make you, maybe that's the case.
That Paul Heyman approaching people in the back always makes me nervous. Because something's going to happen. Something big's going to happen when you see Heyman in the back talking to people. Okay. This sounds good. I'm vibing on it.
We would love to know who you guys think. TappedOutPod@gmail.com. Who do you think will be the next 2? Show drops on Thursday, so it'll even be before SmackDown, so you got plenty of time to get your stuff in. Again, TappedOutPod@gmail.com. Also, we've got the women's War Game match. It's a little further along in development.
Yes.
We got Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair, the former tag team champions, versus Nia Jax, Lash Legend, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. That is 4-on-4, so we're still missing, 20% of the team for both of the teams there. So the question is, in this section, who's number 5? Like, we got to find 5. We got to find a person for each side.
Well, you've got that Maxine Dupree. She's cousins to LA Knight, right?
I think she was in storyline.
Okay, in storyline, yes. That Lynch and Dupree would be a good fit. I think it would be a good fit with their hardcore rivalry. But is this still going to get? Are we not going to get a title? We're going to get a title match Monday. But is this something that's just going to end between now and the next show? I don't know.
Could be. I think that match being put on Monday puts it in a position to where you can kind of, if this is the build, I would think, because the original stories was Becky Lynch and AJ Lee were supposed to be the captains of the team. At this point, we're 4 people on each side, and we don't even have those 2 people in this match. At one point, that was the rumor that was out there. Well, so either one of 2 things, in my opinion, happens. Something happens with the match on Monday, and Lynch and Dupree are added to the match, or poor Maxine Dupree is absolutely obliterated by Becky Lynch and is continued to be pounding, and AJ Lee returns, and that we still add those 2 to those teams.
Well, AJ's not going to be captain of the team that's formed now, not with Ripley.
No. That was the rumor prior to going into.
I'd like to see Bayley, but I don't understand Bayley's gimmick right now. Okay,
she's crazy.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not sold on it. You've got Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez that are killing it right now, but are they in a title picture?
Yeah,
there's so many great women's wrestlers on the roster right now. Probably the best the women's roster has been since I've seen it. Tiffany Stratton, didn't she lose her belt too?
Mm-hmm.
Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill is absolutely on fire as a heel champion. There's a lot that still could play out, but we need to get hooked into this storyline. I really enjoyed the beatdown that Nia Jax rolled out with Lash Legend last night. The thing I'm enjoying the most is the smile on Charlotte Flair's face when she comes down to the ring and she seems like she's having the time of her life. That, to me, I've never seen Charlotte seem happier around in front of the fans. So I think right now we're at a great time for women's wrestling in the WWE. So it's a very promising pay-per-view for me.
Yeah, I again, comes back to, I think it's probably Lynch is probably my most consistent pick. But then on the babyface side, I think it's either Dupree or Lee, potentially. I don't know if...
Okay.
Like, did we sign AJ Lee to wrestle one match? Like, was that kind of the deal that she got? Was to sign that one thing and then she's done? Look, that's not a complaint. Literally, that's me just asking. I mean, I don't like if that's what it was for the one PLE appearance, and then we get to sell merch and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. It is what
Well,
it is.
I was like, it might be Nikki Bella and Vaquera, and you're like, well, that's a title match coming up. That's a rivalry that he just set last night. So I'll need to find out some more information, and we've got 3 weeks?
Yeah, we've got plenty of time. We got a couple weeks at minimum to get heading into it, so we're plenty of time. But speaking of champions, women talent that is champions, we obviously wanted to mention it. What happened on, everything on SmackDown. Chelsea Green was already earlier in the week AAA the mixed tag team champions, her and Ethan Page. So it was like kudos to that. But then out of nowhere, it felt like out of left field, she beats Julie, and she's the U.S. champion. And I was like, wait, well, how? Why? And so I asked you, we were talking about it a little bit, and I'm like, remember how it was? Like, how many months ago was it? Everybody was just screaming that it was criminal how underused she was being, and she deserved better. She deserved better booking, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to get into that in a little bit in a minute. But I was like, man, is she just a model of like, hey, make the most of what they give you, put in the work, and eventually, you're going to be given, maybe potentially being rewarded and given what you deserve, whatever that means.
Chelsea Green got over with the internet. She got over with fans. She's putting on one of the best performances of her life, probably the best performance of her life. And she's hateable. She's one of those people when they fall. She's one of those heels when they fall down, everybody laughs. That's good stuff right there. She's in a position where she's drawing a lot of eyes and she's getting rewarded. I mean, she's the North American champion, is what they call themselves now. Her and Ethan. Well, Ethan Page is the North American champion in NXT. So it's a great mix. And as we sit here, it's one of those things. I sit here on Tuesday recording. I know on NXT tonight, I'm going to get to see probably Chelsea and Ethan doing their gimmick on there tonight, and I'm looking forward to that. So she's getting. I mean, if belts are truly rewards in the wrestling world, she's getting rewarded for whatever she did right.
I just feel like I said, I know a lot of people are real quick to pull the trigger, and look, sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. We're not disputing that. It's one of those times it's more likely to work out if you're patient and you don't, you just kind of bide your time because, I've had these conversations with just tons of the talent, and it's a lot of it's not just about how talented you are. It's about right place, right time, right opportunity, all of those kind of things. But you still have to like be ready, be prepared. So when the opportunity is there, I think it's Jeff Jarrett who says a lot about luck is a lot about being, prepared when the right opportunity comes along for you.
Well, look at Chelsea's husband, Matt Cardona. He's been in a weird situation as an independent guy who's not signed anywhere, and he's worked for everybody. He's made this massive career out of being the greatest guy on all the indies. He holds belts and has held belts all over the country. He's worked for every he's worked for WWE that did. He came back and worked NWA. He's worked Juggalo Championship Wrestling. He succeeds wherever he goes.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where she's learned some of this from.
Maybe. And his opportunity may be, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe even down the road that's something that he gets panned out. He's back in there. I would absolutely love for him to be the mystery opponent. At Raw at Madison Square Garden. We talked about that a little bit.
Remember that? They said it was going to people who don't even work here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The mystery opponent.
Yeah. Ooh, good fantasy booking, Nick.
So, that's what caught our eye on wrestling. I'm sure there's more. Well, you could always share this, by the way. What caught your eye on pro wrestling this week? tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Next, we wanted to kind of dive in a little bit. I know we talked a little bit about the whole Netflix Warner Brothers potential purchase a little bit last week, and everybody's like, why are you guys talking about this so much? We get that a lot, right? And the reason why is because I think how it can affect the landscape of wrestling as a whole. Netflix obviously was the conversation of last week, and then, of course, over the past 6-7 days or whatever, Paramount's in the mix, NBCUniversal, Comcast, they're in the mix. They've all basically hired banks, financial institutions, whatever, to look into the potential purchase of it. And we've kind of bounced all over the board about which ones make sense, which ones make the most sense, maybe is a better way to put it. And I don't really know. By the way, I ask you this. In our business, in the business world and the climate we live in, I don't even know if that any of that makes any difference anymore.
It's hard to say because they turned down a deal from Paramount because it wasn't good enough. There's a chance that regulatory stuff will come involved with this. There's a chance that when they split the company up to sell it, well, it's going to be TV over here and movies over there. We don't want a monopoly where wrestling's only on one network, though. We don't want somebody buying the TV that AEW's on, that Netflix that owns a lot of the WETV, and then deciding to get rid of one. We need a lot more variety, and when people keep like condensing and merging all these things together, it worries me we're not going to have as many outlets as possible. But I think the government will probably prevent most of that, and I don't think Netflix is interested in having another wrestling company. I also don't think they're interested in the TV channels. What they call them, legacy programming, legacy networks.
The linear networks.
Linear, that's the word I'm looking for, linear. I didn't even know there were curved networks.
Yeah. Netflix, here's the interesting. Let's make the case real quick. We're not going to go this long. Real quick, you make the case for all three. I'm going to save Netflix for last. NBCUniversal, Comcast, they're just massive. They need a studio. The Universal Studios, the movies as a whole they make, just haven't done real well. I have still yet to finish the new Jurassic Park movie. I've tried a couple times and I can't stay in it. Damn. I really like the Jurassic Park movies. I really do. I've literally tried to watch it 3 times and I've not finished it. I haven't gotten past more than like 30 minutes.
I have never heard you say that about another movie.
It's probably the case. But I think obviously the question is the money, but then I think they have a lot of the same issues. I'm going to put Paramount with them here now. Paramount doesn't have a problem with money. Skydance purchased, there's the merger with them, so they've got the money. I think the two obstacles that Paramount and NBCUniversal have the most are kind of the things you talked about. If they both absorbed everything, if they want the channels, they want the movie studios, all the above, they just want to absorb the entire company. Now you're talking Paramount Studios, Warner Brothers Studios, the movie, that shrinks that market, or not market, it just shrinks down all the options that are in Hollywood for a lot of people. The channels, Paramount is CBS, VH, all those channels, and then you're merging in the TBS, TNT, all that. Like, I just think NBC, we already know, NBC, USA Network, I think you start getting into more issues potentially with the government, with monopolies and things with those two.
And just look at it from a contract thing. Disney has that push with ESPN and all those other networks. And on my YouTube TV, I don't have those channels anymore because those channels have a big contract negotiations with YouTube TV, Google, all that. And imagine if you get a block like that, decides they're going to, NBC, for example, Universal takes in all the Warner Brothers things, and the next thing they do is they own Comcast, so they want to argue with another cable provider over the contracts to provide content for them, and you lose it. So giving them too much power like that means they can set these fees, and cable prices are just going to go up if they own all the TV networks and all the movie networks. All
the prices are going to continue. That's not going to stop it. They're going to figure out a way to do that. By the way, as of today, Paramount said they're raising their price $1 on the streaming service. Of shocking, shocking, right? Now the Netflix is interesting because again, it appears though they've come out and they kind of like they don't want the channels. For obvious reasons, right? Netflix is like, we don't do TV.
We're not a TV, yeah.
Yeah, so they just want the studios and they want the IP more. In my opinion, I think that's what they want more than anything. They want Harry Potter. They want the DC. They want those other Warner Brothers, IPs that they can use and just continually to just create new content and stuff. I'm not saying Netflix is going to win. I am not saying they're going to be the one that buy it. I just think the reason I think they have a leg up is, one, there's a potential for them to make more money if it's split into two and sell the two entities as two different things versus somebody trying to come in. If you go in and you buy one thing, the price is the price. If you want the other thing, the price is the price. Well, what if I buy both of them? Sometimes we'll give you a little bit of a deal if you're taking it all at once.
Yeah.
Maybe the same situation. That's why I like the Netflix potential, because I think you could Netflix. Hey, what if I told you of these three, it is split. Netflix gets the studios, etc., whatever, and one of the others gets the channels and the other stuff involved. Maybe that's what and maybe that makes everybody happy.
How much for one rib?
Yeah,
I was hoping Apple would get it. I was really hoping Apple would get it. Get the studios, because Apple's creating their own original content, which has been very loved around my house.
So, let me tell you, Apple. I tell people a lot, because they dropped the Plus. Now it's just Apple TV. It's crazy. The device I watch my TV on is Apple TV. The channel that they put their stuff on is Apple TV, and I'm kind of like, which one's? I got it. I'm just kidding.
Is it like Tapped Out Pod? They're going to just put the same name across everything?
Pretty much. Maybe that's what they do. Anything with TV related, they're going to put the Apple TV on it. But their shows are really good. I just always struggle to be like everybody has told me, they put this, this F1 movie out with Brad Pitt in it. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread, I've been told. I'm super cheap. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to wait. It's going to be out on Apple TVs pretty soon. I'm just going to watch it at home. Then I should have went and watched it in the theater. I wanted to go watch it in the theater, and I was a moron and didn't do it. It's my fault. Yeah. I'm sure it sounded phenomenal in IMAX or in a movie theater.
Slow Horses on Apple TV so far has been my favorite series find in a long time. Melissa watches that morning show. She really likes that on Apple TV.
Ted Lasso's on there.
Yeah.
Like that's an Apple show.
Yeah.
I think they're slow with a generation of content, so they just don't have enough. And that's why I agree that they were players, and it ain't like they don't have the money. Let's be honest. They've got So, again, promised we weren't going to go long on that, and then we did. So we apologize for that, But let's going to bring us to something. We addressed it earlier, and I wanted to come back. It was something I think we were just – were we in the car when I asked you this question?
Yes, we were in the car. We've had this discussion probably 5 million times in different versions, but the one we did this weekend on the way to the show Friday night was the one that really stuck with me. I asked the question, Nick.
It's something, so I'm like, man, do wrestling fans actually like wrestling? I mean, it's a dumb question to ask, but it's like, now listen, I'm going to clarify something real quick. I don't think it's just a wrestling problem. Star Wars people, they're pick a show, right?
Gamers,
video gamers.
Fallout released its updates yesterday, and it's like, I can't wait to get on and play and maybe stream some of it. And everybody's already shitting all over it when it came out. One thing though, I got to give some credit to is our friends that are super sports fanatics. The Georgia Bulldogs guys, they don't ever bitch about the Georgia Bulldogs. Or they don't bitch about college football.
Yes, they do.
But not in the same way. They don't bitch about it like wrestling fans do. Wrestling fans give me this whole view of, well, I like to see wrestling doing bad. I like to see this not working. I like to see low ratings. I like to see it fail. Even if it's you got to have more than one company, folks. If WWE were to go belly up, you think AEW would last a week?
The wrestling business as a whole, like I just didn't, Meltzer putting out the wrestling boom's over, it's plateaued, blah blah blah. It may even be in a decline. Ratings are terrible. Listen, some of this stuff, I get it, folks. By the way, the ratings are terrible. Worst creative ever. That's always my favorite. Everybody definitively says wrestling creative is horrible, and I'm like, is it because you don't like it, or do you have them? And then they'll talk about, well, attendance was down. Let's backpedal up the drama of the week, right? When we talk about wrestling things, the Salt Lake City SmackDown, only like 4,500, 42, whatever it was that was there. And you want to ask the questions of like, you do realize it was Halloween night. It was on a Friday night, obviously, because it was SmackDown. Oh, by the way, were you aware they did a Saturday night main event the following night in the same building? So your diehard fans, if they had to cash out to go to Saturday night main event, they probably didn't go to SmackDown.
No.
Saturday night main event got the hardcore. I'm willing to pay anything to get in because they drew what 10,000 that night.
I think so.
And on SmackDown it's 4,200. You want my hard take? It was people that couldn't afford to get the Saturday night main event tickets, and they could maybe go to a SmackDown.
So, yeah. I would think so. Yes, but I don't understand why. Why were you sitting there counting people or looking at WrestleTix to see how bad it did if you don't like wrestling? Why were you watching the show if you don't like the creative? Why are you even watching television? Why are you watching? I mean, if I didn't like a show, I don't watch it. Melissa likes that show that my wife likes that show where in the 60s about English babies being born, that Call the Midwife. I abhor that show. Do I watch it? No. When she monopolizes the TV and I don't get to watch anything else in the living room, I either come downstairs or just sit there and watch it. But I don't crap on it. I just ignore it. Why can't wrestling fans just ignore it?
Now, hold on. We're going to play fair here. We do a wrestling podcast. We do criticize at times from time to time. However, I never want them to do poorly. Like, I don't want attendance to be bad. I don't want ticket sales to be bad. I don't want ratings to be bad. I want ratings to do well enough. Let's address the ratings for a second. We've also got to have long conversations with, there's a new system, so the numbers are going to, like, we're comparing apples to oranges because the old system did it different. This may be what it was always. If this is what it always actually was versus the old way, then the system was skewed and the numbers were wrong before. So we can't sit there and go, numbers are down 30% or 25% and go, oh yeah, but by the way we track it is different now. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any, that just makes a little
quarters and semesters. You know, it's you can't compare things like that. And I get it. I just no.
And then let's address the big one in the room when it comes to ratings, folks. People consume content different across the board now. So I don't know. Think about how when there was only syndicated and then they went to cable, numbers went down. And then it was more cable channels and the numbers went down. Then streaming started coming in and the numbers slightly started tearing. How many people watch things just in clips? Like young people now watch it, YouTube and TikTok reels and Instagram reels and YouTube, of course, like I said. You can sit there and watch pretty much all the highlights of Raw, SmackDown, whatever. They're on YouTube. You just go on there and watch them.
Yes, and not just young people. I do that. If there's a chance where I'm behind on something and I get behind on a WB or AEW, I'm going to go to their YouTube channels and get the show dropped out quickly in a quarter of the time and be done with it so I can get on about the rest of my life. Life doesn't always allow me to watch as much wrestling as possible. Friday night's bad because we're usually at a show. We're at an indie show. Saturday nights can be bad because we're usually at an indie show. If you don't like this, go do something else. Go watch cliff diving or go to an indie show. There's plenty of wrestling out there. Find the one you like. Maybe you'll like MLW. Maybe you'll like Juggalo Championship Wrestling with Vince Russo. Yeah. Or watch old wrestling.
We like the MLW champion. He's pretty good.
I love the MLW champion.
So, yeah.
Folks, just quit your bitching and do what you think to make things better. Do what you can to make things better, not worse.
Yeah. Just like you said, don't watch or whatever. We've had this conversation. It feels like me and you've had this conversation 100 times. So, I just always ask that question, like, do they actually like wrestling or do they just want?
Why do you
Again,
watch?
Star Wars, etc., you name it, same kind of the same. It feels the same way. Comic book movies, everybody's ready to doom and gloom and it's over, it's terrible. You're bored with it. You've had your window. It's not your thing anymore. How about maybe that's the most likely thing?
Take a break. Go watch something else for a little while. Come back.
Absolutely. So anyway, let's move on because I don't want to go down to negative town. Let's talk about something super positive.
This is awesome.
Huge news coming out this week. Had an opportunity to catch up with some of the powers that be there. One Fall Wrestling and the Rocklobsters, which is a team. It's a hockey team up in Athens. They're teaming up to bring the undercard. It's called the Undercard. It's a pregame showdown on the, November the 30th. If you haven't missed, you really need to follow them on social media. Tons of stuff or whatever. And I saw they were there on the 8th, but they were at the game. There were some people there. I believe it was Brady Booker and Tyler Shoop. I believe it's who it was.
Oh, let's bring the charismatic ones.
Yeah, they were there, and they were there for the game. They spoke to the powers that be, at the Rock Lobsters. Seems they're happy with the partnership or whatever. So they're looking for on the 30th, bell time's 2:45. Pucks are going to drop at 4:05, and it's basically going to kind of lead all down the path. Eventually, there's going to be a theme night there for them in January. So again, follow on social media to keep it. And I'm sure probably go out and follow the Rock Lobsters as well, because I think they're probably going to be collaborating back and forth on social media. So it's a pretty cool thing. They're both kind of, big goals, dealing in a community-based mindset. So that's kind of, they're going to work together.
Athens is a wonderful town. Yeah. Was this minor league hockey? Got a crazy name because, the B-52s theme, which were a band out of Athens. It's a great scene in Athens. I can't wait. My daughter's in school up there to go catch a Rock Lobsters game and then see some wrestling. I might could even talk some of my wife and my daughter and her boyfriend to go to a wrestling show if there's a Rock Lobsters game after it. Fun. Collaboration is key, folks. Build your crowd anywhere you can. Present your product into every market you can.
And I think partnering with someone like that, who's, their whole goal is marketing, putting their name out there and growing their business, it's a smart move for them. And Athens has become an absolute hotbed for one fall. They run the show in Athens, a couple show in Watkinsville, right there in the same kind of vicinity. So right now, man, they're super hot in that area. If you're college kids, man, one fall wrestling, absolute fun place to go. But they're always just creative and coming up with fun stuff. Well, speaking of which, Myron, before we jump in the car and we do the Making the Drive, wanted to have a little conversation about, some people had asked me about, hey, how do you do the intro videos, people doing podcasts and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, man, it's not as hard as you. I promise you. I got a friend of mine. His name's Dylan. He does some really cool stuff. He really does with video stuff. That's not me. I'm not that talented. I'm not even close. There's a website that I use, and I'm going to share a little bit of information with you guys about how can you have stuff that looks like ours on yours. This episode of the Tapped Out Podcast is brought to you by our new partners at VideoBolt. They're the video technology company that's been around redefining content creation since 2009. Whether you're a podcaster, promoter, small business, media outlet, VideoBolt makes it easy to create professional, high-quality videos fast without a crazy price tag to go with it. They've powered projects like, from big names like Duncan, Hearst, Comcast, but their platform is built for creators just like us, so you can look just as sharp as those guys. So if you want your videos to stand out, head over to videobolt.net/tappedoutpod and use our promo code tappedoutpod to get starting today. That's videobolt.net/tappedoutpod because your video should hit just as hard as your message. That's right, man. Check out our friends over at videobolt.net. I'm a big fan of their stuff. I've been using it forever. It's the entrances.
Well, look how great everything looks.
Yeah, it's some of the stuff on the background that you see, that stuff from there as well. It's a little bit of everything. Trying to make the show, have a little bit of a pop or whatever. Yeah, I just think it's the easiest. It's the best money. It's super affordable. So if you're going to invest in your quality of your product, videobolt.net/tappedoutpod, or just go to videobolt.net. And when they ask you for the promo code there, guess what it is, Myron? If you had to guess.
Is it Tapped Out Pod?
1,000%. It's Tapped Out Pod. So I think it's, again, well worth the money, and hopefully everybody else does as well. Well, man, now let's do it. Let's take it that we've done a little business. Let's jump in the car and let's hit the roads and look ahead to the weekend that's coming up here as we make the drives. And that is, we're going to start Friday, I believe, is the show where we will be. And that, of course, is none other than Reformation Brewery in Canton, Southern Honor Wrestling, still here, their anniversary show. It's time, Myron.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for them to be. I'm so glad they're coming back. This is one. Still here is always a phenomenal show. Okay, and I can't wait to see what the powers at Southern Honor have in store for us, Nick. I've seen this card, and this card is amazing. I mean, just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, man. Look, with it's been building for quite a while now. Joe Black, Alexander Lev. Alexander Lev has slowly over the year climbed the ladder, earned his respect. And now, he is at the top of the mountain. And he is challenging champion Joe Black, man to man for that Southern Honor title. Question's going to be, is the most dominant champion there, Joe Black, does he retain and stay on the top, or does Alexander Lev finally take his place where he feels like he rightfully belongs as the champion at Southern Honor Wrestling?
This is going to be a hard one, man. These are two guys that are loved by, I mean, not unloved talents. Picking your guy in this match is just going to come down to personal preference, because this is going to be just a match for the ages, man. And then the next match, woo!
Yeah. Speaking about things that have built for a really long time, Gary Lamb will step into the steel cage with Matt Griffin. Been building for, it feels like, for an eternity, where these guys have just been going at each other. Even all the way back to the days when Southern Honor started, Gary ruffled a lot of feathers with a lot of promotions and promoters, Matt Griffin being obviously one of those.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It never seemed to stop. So, for 8 years, it feels like Matt Griffin has been an absolute, just thorn once he started coming in to Southern Honor. The last show, Gary gave him a little tag there. And I think we're going to go find out, what do we find, who's going to, because here's the thing. Let's play devil's advocate. Matt Griffin's got a wrestling history.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like he's untrained. Yes. Matt Griffin will tell you he's a deathmatch, he's a deathmatch icon guy. He's a deathmatch guy. He's the man. He's going around Georgia doing death matches as well. He's working shows. So when it comes to the in-ring ability, you got to lean towards Matt Griffin, unfortunately, right?
Yep.
But Gary also is a fighter. He's also strikes me as somebody who probably will fight dirty if he needs to, because in a fight, there's no such thing as fighting dirty.
Yeah, he's got God on his side. He's one of his guys. He's in his home. I wouldn't ever, in that area of Cherokee County, I wouldn't want to go up against Gary. He's probably one of the most popular men and hated men at the same time in one town. So, yeah, this is going to be great to see. People will come out to see this match, and it's I'm just so excited about that, man. I am so excited about that.
Yeah, Ashton Starr is going to be defending the Jake the Snake Legacy title. A ladder match. It's basically 4 guys who have held that title. Ashton Starr, your reigning champion, Bryce Cannon, Hunter James, and Kyle Matthews. In a ladder match should be extremely interesting, to say the least. CT Keys will take on Judias. Happy Madness will take on Christian Taylor and Grayson Pierce. Carly Bravo will be in the house to take on OXP, and the Skulk will take on the Dallas Brothers. Always a stacked card when you talk about Southern Honor's anniversary show. Obviously, we'll be, hopefully, that's our thing. Fingers crossed, that's where we will be. Bell time is at 8 o'clock on Friday. Also on Friday, 7 o'clock bell time, there in Gainesville, Georgia, at the American Legion. One Fall Wrestling, absolute loaded card. If you didn't hear about us on the Tapped In show, you need to go back and check it out. I had a really in-depth conversation, because I'm about to say something we've never said before. I had 2 guest co-hosts. It was Rosario Grillo and Jack Jameson, so we specifically talked about this card a little bit. And one Jack Jameson is in the main event, as him and Elijah Drago will team up to take on Tyler Shoup and Brady Booker, 4 of the biggest stars there in One Fall Wrestling in one match. Obviously going to be a big deal. Shoot Taylor, Trevor Blackwell, and Karen Gray will be in a triple threat. Angelica Risk will be in a triple threat. Luke Sampson will make his debut at One Fall Wrestling. And then the reason we had another obviously part of the conversation, the undefeated Cartelo Grillo, Grillo himself, KJ Impala, and Jay Sun Esquire, they will be in trios action. And a little story that broke on the other show as well. We can talk about it recording because it'll come out later anyway. Nikki 8, the Superstars will finally be back at full strength, as Nikki 8 is recovered, and he will be back there, and he will be there. So you will have Jimmy Wild, Tommy Mars, and Nikki 8, the Superstars, together once again, which, look, I get it. A lot of people have issues with them, but we're always happy,
Yep.
when we see somebody recover from injury like that.
And that's a good little venue too, man. That's a lot of fun there.
It's a great venue.
Loud.
Yeah, very, very loud. And again, that is in Gainesville at the American Legion. The bell time is 7 p.m. PCW, they are running in Conyers, Georgia. Bell time's 8 p.m. No card as of recording, but again, we've talked about a little bit. It's coming out of, Turn the Page, their big show. Bunch of new champions, new roster members coming in. We know about some of the new alliances that were formed there at Turn the Page. It's a whole new era for PCW, so check them out. Conyers, Georgia, bell time, 8 o'clock. SCA, Friday night, of course. Guess who's running? They're running at the Royston Dome. The Silva will be defending the SCA title versus Jackson Carter, and what probably will be the main event if you had to guess. Lots of other stuff on here, man. Hunter James, he hosted an open challenge for that Georgia Heritage Championship. Last week, it was answered by Nick Halen. Scott Mason interfered, who retaliated against Hunter James because he attacked him 2 weeks ago. Mason then jumped his protege. I mean, you can see the chaos that just ensues, right? Everybody gets it. Now you've got Stevie Ray Frost, you've got Hunter James, Nick Halen, Scott Mason, all involved in total chaos. So we'll have to see what plays out there. What's going on with Savage? Everybody's at Tower, broke the skeleton bone. It's a whole chaos situation there and them. And of course, your favorite manager, Richard Page, and what he's doing with Greatness Inc. there.
There's just there are so many references to Richard Page in these notes. Does he send in these notes? Is he the one writing this?
No, it's the powers that be, man.
Well, the powers that be must really like that little douchebag and his cane and his hair, horrible hair color.
Again, Friday night, Royston Dome, bell time 8 p.m. SCA. Head up there if you're in the North Georgia area. Also, now let's just jump ahead to Saturday. GPW, Georgia Premier Wrestling, they will be back at Jasper, Georgia. Bell time there is 6:30 p.m. Note that time, 6:30 p.m. Trevor Blackwell, he is your GPW champion. Kind of has been leading down this path. There's a, facing off between him and Jimmy Wild. We are finally there for, a match for the GPW championship. Trevor Blackwell will defend against Jimmy Wild. JD Inc., he is your GPW television champion, and he will defend that title versus KJ Impala. The Warden is going to take on Hayden Seal. And there's, no matches, no story, but I had no kind of indication that it's going to be involved. But the story of Josh Cantrell and, this still playing out, like what's going on with him, what's his issue, with the guys that run the facility they're at, what is their problem? Not real sure.
I can't see him not getting involved with anything on this. He's usually center of the picture on every show that you go to, so he's going to be involved in some capacity.
Josh Cantrell is always going to make an impact when it comes to GPW. So again, bell time is 6:30 p.m. Make sure you note that time there in Jasper at GPW. Also on Saturday in Swainsboro, bell time 7 p.m. Passion of Wrestling's running. It's Brandon Cage versus Nick Quick, Dan Yoder versus Ryan Phoenix. Dirty Dog will be defending the Pure Championship versus Colt McCarthy. Highlighted here is Hyena Hera is going to make the trip down to Passion of Wrestling, and she will make her appearance there on Saturday at Swainsboro, Georgia.
Good job.
Also on Saturday, just wanted to highlight a couple, good cause events. Aware Wrestling in Newton, Georgia at 7 p.m. The Battle of 25. It's a cancer awareness fundraiser show. So we always want to make sure you're checking them out. Follow all these promotions on social media. And, of course, on the Making the Drives, the posters will be there to help you get the directions as well. So make sure you're following us there as well. Hope Wrestling, they will be in Thomaston, Georgia on Saturday as well. This is a pretty card when you think about it. Fried Eddie, Michael Stevens, Sean Nelson, Eddie Honcho, and many, many more. Again, that is Hope Wrestling, kind of all with their mission statement that they are there in Thomaston. So check them out on Saturday as well. Last but not least, I do want to remind everybody, Monday the 17th, One Fall Wrestling returns to Watkinsville, Georgia. We sit there and remember, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And that little window. And then the bell time there is 7 p.m. No card as of yet because we got to see what happens Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
Before we find out what's going to happen on Monday. By the way, it's a little ahead of the game, but they're running Athens on the 20th. On Thursday.
Jesus.
So, yeah, that's far enough out. We usually discuss that on the next week's show, but I'll go ahead and tease that.
I can't understand how they can run so many shows in so many different venues. It's mind blowing.
Listen, I tell people all the time, One Fall Wrestling, you gotta follow them on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. By the way, picking up all kinds of new content on there. They're dropping backstage promos and segments and pre-tapes, and they've got interviews with Tony Miller and on and on and on. There's just constant content.
I like that Tony Miller guy.
I agreed 100%. Caught up with him this past weekend. It's always good to see him. But the crazy part was, man, on top of that, just the posters on Facebook where the shows are going to be. You just got to keep up. Mm-hmm. And, 1FWLive.com, make sure you're over on there because you got to get your tickets ahead of time. That way you just don't miss out. And, I mean, it's a great way to keep up where all the shows are as well. So, One Fall Wrestling, again, Watkinsville on Monday. I know it's a little ahead of the game, but they're also running Athens on the 20th, folks. So just keep that in mind as well. It seemed like a lot, but I think there's just a couple really big shows this weekend. But yeah, it's we're also heading into a weird time of the year. We're starting to get close to the Thanksgiving holidays and then to the Christmas, so it's going to be weird to see how the shows zigzag and all that good stuff along the way. Man, that's pretty much what I've got to do this week. Before we get out of here and I do the old usual plugs, you got anything you want to throw in there? Or?
No, man, I am just so happy to see wrestling doing so well in Georgia, and I want to make it clear. Follow your favorite promotion on social media. Follow any promotion on social media and see what they're doing. Find out when their shows are and get out there and support indie wrestling. The tickets are cheap. You can take your whole family for less than one ticket to one of the big shows costs. Okay. You can buy merch from these guys, help them out. This is not the kind of stuff that goes to some contract, they have with a merchandise company through the promoter. These are individual monies that are going into these people's wallets and helping out, paying for these drives. I mean, some of these people put ungodly amount of miles on their cars driving back and forth to these shows just to entertain you. So get out there and support indie wrestling. Support all wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan, you'll find wrestling you like. And most of the time, it's going to be indie.
And we tell people all the time, Myron, right? Like if you take your kids to an indie show, they're going to have a great experience. They're going to get to meet the guys, take pictures with the guys, get autographs, 8x10s autographed, all that kind of stuff that just you're not going to get at the big show. This is way more personal, way more approachable. And then there's generally just not a bad seat in the house at these when you go to these indie shows. No. You're not sitting in the 400 section in the nosebleed seats, at a SmackDown or a Raw or whatever. You're going to be good. You're pretty close up to this. That's why we're such fans of it, man. And I agree with you 100%. But that's all we got, man. You got anything else?
I have nothing else.
What's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.